Hi, welcome back. Now we're going to talk about the right portion of the screen and what it does. So, first of all, depending on the file that we have selected over here in the navigator, the tabs at the top are going to change. Right now we have a text file selected in the navigator, a .swift file in this case, and we have two tabs. We have one called the File Inspector, and at the top we see identity and type. This tells us the name and type of the file. We have the location relative to the group, view controller Swift, and we have the full path of the file. We have some resource tags here. We have the membership set as the Hello Xcode project. We have some text settings here, and we can scroll down and see a few more settings and also a bit more information. Below that, we have a panel that doesn't ever really change, and this panel is independent of the top panel. This gives us basically four different tabs. The first tab is the file template library. So we can see file templates for, say, a touch class, a UI test case class, and so on. The second tab is the code snippet library that has some useful code snippets that you can insert into your code. And you can also make new snippets. If you find something that you use over and over again, you should save it as a snippet in this library. The third tab is the object library, and this will show that there are currently no matches, but if there are, the objects would be shown here. And then the fourth tab, most useful for user interface, the object library and the object library and the first library here, the template library, are the two most useful to us. The fourth is the media library, and again, there is nothing currently in the media library. The second tab at the top will be the Help tab. So this is the Help Inspector, and this will tell us in this case that there is no quick help available. But if we, for example, click on UI View Controller, it tells us about view controllers. If we click on maybe Super, I'm just trying things at random, there's no quick help for Super, but let's see, View to Load perhaps. Yes, there is this help here for the View Did Load function of a view controller. So that's what this looks like in when we're viewing a file in the source code editor. Now, another thing I should mention is that these three selectors up here, the last three, will show or hide the left-hand side, the right-hand side, and the debug area. And all of these, of course, are resizable in any way that we want. All right, so if we have selected a storyboard, we get a bunch of tabs. Okay, so we have a view controller scene here. We have a storyboard that we've done nothing to, but we can see the extent of this storyboard if we scroll it a little bit. We've got a view controller, a picture of a big square view controller, which is a little bit odd, but we'll talk about how to fix that as we get into layouts in Xcode. And we see this no quick help over here. So if I have my storyboard and I go to, let's say, the view controller's view, and we'll talk about what all that means, the Help Inspector tells us about the class UI View, which view controller or the view is an instance of. I also have my identity, which is the main storyboard, and it's a type of interface builder storyboard, its location, and so on. The third tab, when I'm looking at a storyboard, is called the Identity Inspector. This allows us to change the class. If we have a custom view, let's say, and we want to use that view instead of the base root class of UI View, then we can change this class here. This is most often done with view controllers. So I would change the class of a view controller to point to the actual view controller that it is. In this case, our view controller here is pointing to this class view controller here. And that's what that's telling us. If we built a custom view controller or added a new view controller over here in our file structure, we would need to change the custom class of our new view controller to whatever that is. The fourth tab gives us information on the metrics of whatever it is we have selected. So if we have a view selected, or if we, for instance, drag out a button or a label, let's say we drag out a button to our view, that can be placed wherever we want. And now that's selected and we get the settings for a button. So this fourth tab is called the Attributes Inspector, and it lets us set and view the attributes of whatever it is we're looking at. So if we want to change this button to hello, we can do that. And that would change the text of that button. The fifth tab is the Size Inspector. So now this is going to tell us different things about the size. So right now it says I'm looking at a view. All controls are instances of UI control, which is a subclass of UI view. So I'm looking at a view. I'm seeing its frame rectangle. I can see its X and Y size. I can see its width and its height, or its X and Y position, top left corner, and its width and height. I can arrange it. I can look at the constraints that currently exist on it, and so on and so forth. The sixth one is the Connections Inspector. In other words, what this particular view is connected to. And there is nothing set yet. But if I had, for instance, a method in my view controller that I wanted to fire when I click the button, I could look at that, connect it up here, and make that button do whatever I wanted it to do. So this is the right side, which is the inspector window, and the bottom right side, which is our place where we go to find various components that we're going to use in our application. Thank you very much.